Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. Broadcasting to you live from the Orion spiral arm of the Milky Way galaxy, the solar system, planet Earth, North America, the United States of America, somewhere in between two formerly tariffed nations.
Hello, everybody.
My name is Brian Engelman. It is Monday, February 17th. Oh, we got a playback here. Let's mute that, shall we? Thank you for joining us here on the TNAM AM Show. The TNAM AM Show. We're going to talk about Fort Knox. Is it empty? Has the gold been stolen? What will the audit show? Also, European thought crimes. What's going on with J.D. Vance, and why is Europe afraid to defend itself against an invasion? What in the world has happened to the European Union? And if you're a union that isn't protecting your borders and your national interest and your national identity, what is the point of being in a union? What is the point of being in any government if you're not collectively figuring out what you want to have in your country? If you'll allow everything, then you are nothing. Europe doesn't seem to get this, and they're pushing this Obama doctrine on people. We'll unpack that. Also, we will discuss Team Canada. Did you see the hockey game? Oh, did you see the hockey match, eh? Oh. What was that all about? What's funnier, a boot or a boat? What was that all about? Did I say boot or boat there? I think I said both. Both. Boot, both. So something with NHL, they're having Canada play the United States. And on the heels of the Justin Trudeau kerfuffle, you know, Justin Trudeau's trying to run Canada into the ditch. And they're our neighbor, so we want them to be strong, because if they're not strong, then America's northern border is weak. Remember when Trudeau went after people, the truckers protest? Canada's been taken over by a tyrant. America wants Canada to be awesome. Canada's currently occupied with a nitwit globalist. But some people are misconstruing just that, oh yeah, Trump wants to take over Canada. Yeah, it's our 51st state. No, he hates Trudeau because Trudeau is an Obama-style globalist, which makes America unsafe. So he doesn't like him. He wants him out as soon as possible. Trudeau resigns, and he's still not resigned yet. What's taking so long? So we'll unpack that and the rest of the stories. Please leave your comments below. Hit like, hit subscribe. Please share. Oh, actually, speaking of, when I said please share the show, this is where I'm supposed to share the show onto the Facebook groups. But look, I have a new proposal. I'd like to get your thoughts on this. We'll talk some sports, maybe talk about the NBA All-Star game. But what about this? How would we feel if we took President's Day, which is today, right? Is that what's going on? What if we took that and made President's Day the Monday after the Super Bowl? How does that sound? I think it's a wonderful idea. If we're only a week difference between the Super Bowl and President's Day, look, technically it might not make sense always to have it fall on, I don't know, whatever, Washington, the first Monday closest to George Washington's birthday, but it can't be before Thursday, or the first Monday preceding the following second week of the Jefferson, however we're doing it, doesn't matter. We've had 47, well, I guess we haven't had 47 presidents, 47 presidential terms. It's really not that much if you think about it, especially since a term could be 4 to 8 years. That's not a lot at all. We're only 200 and... How old are we exactly? How old is the USA? 249 years. If you... Because there's several different dates. 1776 is July 4th, 1776, our birthday. Or would that be in, was it 1789? whatever, 83, 82, there's different lines of demarcation. But if you take 1776, we're 249 years old. Okay, we'll mute that. So I don't think it really makes a whole lot of sense trying to get so locked into the fact that a President's Day has to actually be on a president's birthday or the first Monday following this and that. Why not make President's Day the Monday after the Super Bowl? And you just say, look, it's going to be the second week, the third week of whatever. February 7th, February 10th. It'll be the second Monday of the month. And the NFL will have to figure it out and make sure that it lines up. People have long called for that to be a national holiday. Why not? Why not throw the Super Bowl parade the very next day? Oh, because logistically, I mean, yeah, but any mayor worth their salt already has a Super Bowl plan in place, a Major League Baseball parade route in place. Like, you got to have that in place. Do it the next day. But regardless, I mean, why not kill two birds with one stone? And then you're really making this a celebration of Americanism. The Super Bowl really is a celebration of Americanism. That's kind of a weird phrase. Whereas the NBA All-Star Game was kind of like, eh? You had, I don't even know what was going on this year. You had like multiple teams, but they're not playing a game. They're playing first to 40. Why are you doing first to 40? That's not a thing. I don't know. It's supposed to be exhibition. I don't think the NBA All-Star Game lining up with President's Day makes a difference. But the Super Bowl should be a national holiday. Why not just put President's Day there, call it a day? Scoot it 1 week prior. Or 2 weeks prior, whatever around now. Yeah, 1 week. So that's my thought of the day. Question of the day. Type it in the comments. Would you support moving President's Day to the Monday following the Super Bowl? Question of the day. Let me get your thoughts. All right, let's jump into the news today and tell you about all the things that are happening. This is a report from Breitbart saying that the Los Angeles Fire Department could have pre-deployed 10 engines to the Pacific Palisades ahead of the deadly Palisades fire on January 7, but they chose not to. This is according to former fire chiefs quoted by the LA Times. As Breitbart News has reported, the LAFD, led by Chief Kristen Crowley, apparently declined to pre-deploy. Man, that's a tough word to say. Kristen Crowley, LAFD leader, declined to pre-deploy resources on J6 ahead of extreme winds because of budget cuts that made the department reluctant to pay overtime. Oh, God. The LA Times, think of all the stolen money on illegals, on green news scams, on bullet trains to nowhere, all their money laundering, anti-Trump agendas. What does that even mean? Because of budget cuts to the freaking fire department. By the way, here's another great idea. How about the prisoners, instead of just being caged rats, why not put them out in the fields going through and cleaning out the underbrush, making sure that these LA fire areas are not tinder boxes. And then guess what? When they're released from prison on a work release program, maybe they'll have a job and they'll be able to have an apartment. They can get back on their feet with a useful skill. Maybe there could be a special division that employs former felons or former inmates doing a very necessary job. But like, what if you got out of jail and you had a chance to do a work release? You're going to trade your labor for some freedom and maybe some money. Instead of sitting and rotting in a jail cell all day, why not get out and be of service to your community? The community that you've taken so much from to end up in that place, you're paying it back. These are the type of things we could create if we weren't locked into the current system that we have. And I think that's one of the biggest problems in America. And I think it's maybe why the Elon Musk push back is so strange. You've seen the charts and graphs of how many places in the greater DC area have been listed on Zillow in the past month. Everywhere you look, everybody's trying to flee. But if you're not beholden to the inertia of the way things have been, then you're open to create as you should have in the first place. I think there need to be massive cistern projects in some of these forest areas. Fill up tanks, 100,000, million gallons, 10 million gallons, I don't know, depending on the area and the topography. Do some public works projects to catch some of that water that's coming from the north. Like President Trump said, I directed them to open the spigot. I said spigot. Directed him to open the spigot and collect all that water. Put a hose, put a drinking straw attached to it, take that water south and fill up a bunch of cisterns in these forest areas. Why not run some piping that could be deployed in case of emergency if you need to make a fire break? Why is nobody thinking of doing stuff like this? So when Elon is trying to rebuild and reimagine government, he took over Twitter that was losing. Twitter wasn't a business. What was the phrase? He didn't buy a business. He bought a crime scene. I forget who to attribute that to exactly. But when you unplug everything and only plug in the necessary, you'll figure out pretty quick that you didn't really need all this complication to begin with. So anyway, I'm just thinking about this fire department. How could we have avoided this? I lived in Los Angeles for a while. My heart breaks for these people. I did check, yes, at least one of the properties that my previous, where I used to work, I used to manage properties up in some in the Palisades area, and we did lose a 137 unit building. You know, these are real people, and you can be annoyed with California all you want because of the lack of district attorneys and mayors in San Francisco and Los Angeles, and a goofy governor, and backward tax policies, backward immigration policies, stealing our tax dollars from the fire department to give to illegal aliens instead of building our infrastructure and making California a better place. You can be upset at those people and those policies, those protocols. But there's a lot of good people that were just destroyed because of these things. And yeah, if you're living in some of these certain areas, yeah, Palisades, Maui, like you're doing fine, just fine. You'll figure it out. That's not the way we're supposed to be thinking about this stuff. It shouldn't matter if a poor area like Western North Carolina is hit or a place like Pacific Palisades is hit. Humanity gets hit when these things happen. And we need to think of better ways to live in these areas, knowing that there can be fires and there can be floods. Western North Carolina, all right. So is there a proposal to get some infrastructure built where they can siphon some of the spillways? If the water ever comes down, and that, I hope they've charted all of this and tracked this and move where you rebuild. But these are things that Americans should be able to work with Americans to fix with American resources instead of open-ended credit cards from illegal alien invaders in fancy 4-star hotels. That's whoever said that our money should be taken to do something like that. We have our own problems, and we are not addressing our homeless, our drug addicted. We're not addressing American problems, let alone importing additional problems. So yeah, allegedly they're saying that Kristen Crowley didn't send resources pre-deployed on January 6th because of budget cuts that made the department reluctant to pay overtime. Let me go side by side. That's what I thought I was doing. The Los Angeles Times adds that it took 18 minutes for firefighters to respond to the first 911 call about the brush fire that became the massive Palisades fire. By then, it was almost too late to stop the wind from fanning the first flames. The Times reported the LAFD could have sent at least 10 additional engines to the Palisades before the fire, engines that could have been on patrol along the hillsides and canyon. Yeah, when you're in severe wind scenarios like this, why aren't you pre-deployed? That should be part of your training. That shouldn't be extra money. It's like, hey, whenever the weather kicks into this gear, you're all on high alert. You're all called in. You're all working that day. Isn't that the job? Why wouldn't that be the job? If not, make that the job. Get all the training classes, have everybody, whatever the windy season, if you can project that, have other firefighters from other communities come in to team up. So maybe you have 5 locals and 3 out-of-towners. And you're training them in these scenarios so they can take that experience back to their hometowns. And you're swelling the amount of coverage that you need during those times. This is management 101. It's what it means to be a general manager or a head football coach. It's what it means to run a homeowners association, work in property management, putting on a large event. It's just, there's things that you have to navigate. And it just doesn't seem like LA Fire Department was focused on the right things. Every minute they were wasting it on DEI stuff. It was a detriment to their community because they were taking those hours and those dollars, those resources, those moments away from maximizing safety protocols. That's it. That's all you should be spending your money on. None of this other woke stuff. When people say DEI costs lives, this is what they're talking about. $10,000, $100,000, $1 million, $10 million, $100 million. What is the number of dollars in the last 2 decades that's been wasted on DEI stuff? Racist, divisive, destructive, distracting DEI stuff. Instead of filling the coffers so that when you have to call in and flex because there's a urgent weather scenario that could heighten fire risk, you don't have the money that you need when you need it. So it's just frustrating. The Breitbart article continues. The Palisades fires toll might not have been as bad if extra engines had been pre-positioned much closer to the most fire-prone areas than the 2 Palisades stations, the ex-chief said. They also noted the LAFD officials pre-deployed significantly fewer engines citywide on January 7th than they did in response to wind warnings in previous years, 2011, 13, and 19. I'm going to type, this didn't have to happen button. That's the comment. All right. All right. To anybody who's out there watching the hockey game, we'll get to the hockey game. But here's a card trick explaining, well, here's a card trick about, well.
Called a Prime Minister Shuffle. And that's called a Prime Minister Shuffle because it looks good, but it doesn't do anything. It's true, though. This is
come on. That's a nice joke right there.
Called a Prime Minister Shuffle. And that's called a Prime Minister Shuffle because it looks good, but it doesn't do anything. It's true, though. This is.
That's awesome. Actually, what is the @ for this comic? Magician. We gots to follow. All right, somebody, I'm dropping that breadcrumb. Somebody's going to come back and find it later. All right, Charlie Kirk here saying, this is critical. Democrats' only hope of stopping Trump is to ignore the Constitution. Article 2 is very clear. The president is in command of the executive branch. There is no 4th branch of unelected, unknown bureaucrats. Trump is in charge, period. Stephen Miller was saying the founders created a unitary executive branch in which, quote, the executive power shall be vested in a president of the United States, end quote. The vesting clause, all executive power is vested in the one man elected by the whole nation. So how soon before activists, judges can be impeached? There's the question. Because it seems like that is the big strategy of the left right now. They are trying to use the judges to shut down what Trump is doing. It doesn't seem to be working. This one in from Snowflake News. J.D. Vance was in Europe last week, as you know, and he was kind of calling them out. He's like, hold on, how are we supposed to be your allies if you don't support our First Amendment rights? What kind of nations, what kind of backward nation you expect us to protect and team up with if you're not honoring our values? These are pretty basic First Amendment things. So now CBS just broadcasted footage showing German police raiding a home and confiscating electronics because of a meme.
It's 6:01 on a Tuesday morning, and we were with state police as they raided this apartment in northwest Germany.
Hier ist die Polizei, wir mussten bitte mal mit Ihnen reden.
Inside, 6 armed officers searched a suspect's home, then seized his laptop and cell phone. Prosecutors say those electronics may have been used to commit a crime. The crime, posting a racist cartoon online. At the exact same time across Germany, more than 50 similar raids played out. Part of what prosecutors say is a coordinated effort to curb online hate speech in Germany. It's 6:01 on a Tuesday morning, and we were with state police as they raided this apartment in northwest Germany.
Hier ist die Polizei, wir mussten bitte mal mit Ihnen reden.
Inside, 6 armed officers searched a suspect's home, then seized his laptop.
All right, why can't I switch? There we go. That was delayed. That was weird. That's not a free nation. You shouldn't be mean to people online. That's fine. But at the end of the day, you have to be responsible for the things that you say. And cartooning is not a crime. Like, is this a strong stance to take? Cartooning is not a crime. Okay. So JD Vance is over in Europe saying, like, how can we be partners if you're not going to share our ideals? Here's JD Vance kind of talking about the European Union on that topic.
Leader, I forget exactly which official it was within the European Union, but sent Elon this threatening letter that basically said, we're going to arrest you if you platform Donald Trump, who, by the way, is the likely next president of the United States. So what America should be saying is, oh, if NATO wants us to continue supporting them, and NATO wants us to continue to be a good participant in this military alliance, why don't you respect American values and respect free speech? Excuse me, it's insane that we would support a military alliance if that military alliance isn't going to be pro-free speech. I think we can do both, but we've got to say American power comes with certain strings attached. One of those is respect free speech, especially in our European allies. Like, look, I'm not going to go to some backwoods country and tell them how to live their lives, but European countries should theoretically share American values, especially about some very basic things like free speech. The leader, I forget exactly which
Me about Beyonce.
Despite her repeated denials, Beyonce was paid.
Who was she paid by?
The Harris campaign. She was paid tens of thousands of dollars to give a speech that no one wanted to hear. And Kamala Harris thought all of these people came out to Texas to hear her speak. Yeah, right. Beyonce came out and gave this speech, this boring ass speech, and just left without performing. And then Kamala Harris got booed. Cardi B was paid. Cardi B, who famously said she wasn't paid, her production company was paid to show up.
Don't fucking ask me. I don't give a fuck the resume that they send. I don't give a fuck. I'm not endorsing no fucking presidents no more. Because we could fund two wars. Motherfuckers talking about we don't got it, but we got it. Like, we're the greatest nation. No, the fuck we're not. We're talking some right now. Yeah, hold on. I got more.
Katy Perry was paid. Christina Aguilera was paid. Oprah wasn't paid $1 million. She was paid $2 million. Okay, let's be very clear.
$2 million.
$2 million to Harpo Productions. Flip Harpo backwards. It spells out Oprah. It's Oprah's production company. Meryl Streep calls her Madam President. It was a love fest for Kamala Harris. Al Sharpton was paid $500,000 moments before he interviewed her. Okay, an MSNBC anchor, Al Sharpton, was paid money. A so-called journalist was paid money moments before he interviewed the vice president. People like Roland Martin, who are attacking me now, he was paid $350,000 to interview Kamala, advertising costs, okay? The Pennsylvania Democratic Party was paid $25 million after the chair raised hell for not being paid enough street money.
Tell me about Beyonce. Who is running it? Who are the names?
Steve Ricchetti, his senior advisor, Anita Dunn, Mike Donnellan, Ron Klain, Jeff Zients. Bob Bauer, his personal lawyer, who's actually
And sound is back. Thank you, Kenneth. I got to watch that mute. That's the second time this has happened. That's my bad. That's user error.
actually his personal lawyer, who actually leased a book, basically grifting off his relationship with the Bidens. I'm going to get in so much trouble for saying all this. Please give me credit for, but these are the people who.
We need to know who's been running this country. This was never about Joe Biden. He wasn't capable 5 years ago when we all saw it. The media just colluded with the deep state alphabet agencies and the Democrat Party to tell you Orange Man was bad. Orange Man was doing a great job in this country. And then COVID was unleashed from the Fauci-funded Wuhan bioweapons lab, perhaps intentionally.
Who ran our country for the last 4 years.
So let's go through each name for all of the audience. Not everybody is as tuned in with who is running it. Who are the names?
Okay, hold on. Is it the second clip?
Steve Ricchetti, his senior advisor, Anita Dunn, Mike Donnellan, Ron Klain, Jeff Zients, Bob Bauer, his personal lawyer, who's actually his personal lawyer, who actually leased a book.
There you go. Anita Beth. Anita Dunn. But look, Tom Homan here talking about immigration. Firing back at AOC, helping illegals evade ICE. This is so overdue that these cities and states stop these illegal sanctuary city policies. If people want to hang out in the nightclub, you walk to the front door, you show your ID, you pay your cover charge, you wait in line. That's it. All this other stuff, regrettably, people that are caught in the middle here, you can never trust a Democrat. And unfortunately, you're finding that out now because they manipulate, they lie, and they will use you and steal everything that they can from you. They are mobsters, gangsters. They are thugs. They are not trustworthy people. They do not prioritize America. They don't care whose backs they step on, who they will sell out to keep their temporary power. These are the worst of the worst people. So if you got sucked up into something and you believed a Democrat, let this be a lesson. Never believe a Democrat again, because they've been grifting and stealing and looting and plundering and pillaging for decades. And it's finally over now.
Educate her during congressional testimony that entering the country illegally is a crime. So whatever. But what she needs to do is read the statutes enacted by Congress. Title 8, United States Code 1324, United States. Title 8, United States Code 1324 and 25. That's what she needs to read, because it's illegal to enter this country. It's a crime to enter this country illegally. Not only that, when you harbor and conceal and impede law enforcement, that's a felony. So what she's doing, she says she's educating them as to their constitutional rights, and we all know they got constitutional rights. But what she's really doing, you and I and the rest of the country knows, she's trying to teach them how to evade law enforcement. Now, I just said
teaching illegals how to invade law enforcement.
We're out of the gate.
Who does she work for? Americans, or is she perpetrating treasonous acts to work against the laws of this country? I'm pretty sure if you're aiding and abetting the enemy, if you're working against your own nation, you're the product of another nation or a multinational plot or conspiracy to overthrow this nation, you're as guilty as treason as the next person, right?
We're concentrating on public safety threats, national security threats. So she's educating those in the country illegally with a significant criminal conviction, public safety threat. Don't open your door, don't dot the I's. Here's how you invade law enforcement. Let's hope she's not educating the next person who gets out and murders a young college student in Georgia. I mean, these are bad people we're looking for. So she can call it education all she wants, but we all know it's about evading law enforcement.
There you go. Back to Germany here, and JD Vance, this is from End Wokeness. Here's a panel on 60 Minutes. Is posting an insult a crime? Listen to what Germany is saying. I don't know how this happened.
Crime to insult somebody in public.
Yes, it is.
And it's a crime to insult them online as well?
Yes. The fine could be even higher if you insult someone in the internet.
Why?
Because in internet, it stays there. If we are talking here face to face.
In internet, it stays there.
You insult me, I insult you, okay, finish. But if you're in the internet, if I insult you or a politician,
That sticks around forever.
yeah.
If you insult a politician, Germany has fallen. What in the world do you do now? This is madness.
The prosecutors explain German law also prohibits the spread of malicious gossip by
Malicious gossip. Today's gossip is tomorrow's headline. How many things were intentionally fed incorrectly to the public about COVID in the past 5 years? We were right and we were silenced about point after point after point. I would gladly put our track record of the things we were saying up against any of the lying legacy media that was allowed to claim they were the independent fact checkers and they were the only ones to talk about the issue. You don't silence speech.
violent threats and fake quotes.
If somebody posts something that's not true, and then somebody else reposts it or likes it, are they committing a crime?
Yeah, in the case of reposting, it is a crime as well, because
reposting something is a crime. Germany has fallen.
The reader can't distinguish whether you just invented this or just reposted it. That's the same for us.
The punishment for breaking hate speech laws can include jail time for repeat offenders.
Is it a crime to...
Germany has fallen. Good job, JD Vance. You've got it in there. This lady, she is making the rounds. Lindy Lee, former Democratic Party fundraiser, talking about the Democrat Party and where they prioritized the issues in that party. She's definitely making the rounds. You got to, I don't know. It's interesting. But this is her second clip we've played from her today.
Woke is their god. You know, this like trans and woke insanity, they're enthralled by it. And, you know, go woke, but go broke. We've seen that happen so many times, and companies are running as fast as they can away from this toxic agenda. Yet the Democratic Party is doubling down time and time again on this, honestly, it's a gender hysteria. It's almost like a social contagion. And it's just, this is not what Americans want. They want common sense policies. They don't want men and women's sports. They want men to be men and women to be women, and for women to be able to thrive without having to fear that a biological man is going to come into their sport and trounce them. You never hear about women and men's sports. There's a reason why. There's an obvious gender disparity. And to argue otherwise is just very disingenuous. But over the past 5-10 years, the party has become like hijacked by this woke is their.
So can they reclaim their party? Are there really any leaders left in that party?
Is it a...
All right, so we saw this clip before, but JD Vance says insulting someone is not a crime. And criminalizing speech is going to put a real strain on European-U.S. relationships. This is Orwellian, and everyone in Europe and the U.S. must reject this lunacy. Just, I mean, bravo, JD. Tucker Carlson was out there doing an interview with Piers Morgan, saying, you're not free. You didn't win you won a war. You don't have the Second Amendment right to protect yourself. You can't say what you want to say. You can't defend yourself. You can't say what you want to say. You're not free. You're no different than had you lost that war. Well, we wouldn't be speaking German. He's like, what's the difference? You've been neutered. You're not a country. You're not a free man. And it's time we start calling this stuff out. Snowflake Tears sharing this. You did see the proclamation from President Trump that either all prisoners will be released in Gaza Strip by noon on Saturday, or else all hell would break loose. There was some exchange of some prisoners, not all. And Snowflake Tears here saying, after all the hostages were not released, Israel just eliminated the head of Hamas's operations department in Lebanon. You knew this was happening. More on that in a second. Let's get to these judges. Let's get to the judges that are trying to block the Trump administration from handling their duties as the executive, the chief executive in the country. So the Gateway Pundit is reporting here, America First Legal has uncovered damning evidence that federal judge Jack McConnell, the Rhode Island judge who halted President Trump's temporary spending freeze, has been deeply entrenched in a taxpayer-funded nonprofit receiving over $128 million in government funding during his tenure. Yeah, so you have to recuse yourself when you have connections like this. And when you don't, you should be disbarred. That's what needs to start happening to these people. These aren't judges. These are infiltrators. According to AFL's investigation, McConnell has served on Crossroads Board of Directors since 2006, including a decade-long stint as chair. Even after taking his seat on the federal bench in 2013, McConnell continued to appear as a director on the NGO's IRS Form 990 filings. So he should be disbarred. Double R. Disbarred for not disclosing and recusing. All right? He should be disbarred. No ifs, ands, or buts. Let's talk about how Europe has allowed unchecked invasion into their country to change who their country is. The Obama doctrine. Tom Homan here saying in the last 24 hours, let's compare this to what's happening here in the United States. When you had a Joe Biden or a Justin Trudeau or a Keir Starmer or any of these other traitors seizing control of your government in a coup or maybe accidentally through a fair election. Compare the difference. In the last 24 hours, the United States Border Patrol has encountered a total of 229 aliens across the entire southwest border. That is down from a high of over 11,000 a day under Biden. I started as a Border Patrol agent in 1984, and I don't remember the numbers ever being that low. President Trump promised a secure border, and he is delivering. Borders are Tom Homan. Bravo.
Cash.
When I'm talking about how the deep state worked with the media, the lying legacy media, yes, I put in people like Bill Maher. I put in anybody with an audience. When 2020 happened, and then January 6th was intentionally erroneously labeled as an insurrection without a single shot being fired. It was a mostly peaceful protest, and then some people did some things. When media, academia, the lying legacy media, the Democrat Party, when they all get together to push their fake stories, unfortunately, some people believe it. But this is the reality of what happened on January 6th, and I don't even think Bill Maher is willing to accept it. He's pseudo-accepting it. He's saying that he's hurt. Well, just let's hear it in his terms.
Patel just testified in front of the confirmation hearing.
Yeah, he said even this fucking right-wing QAnon nut.
Right-wing nut. Kash Patel's a nut. Okay.
Even he says he's against Trump pardoning the J6 rioters. He said that.
He did say
you know
that because some of them beat up the cops. I understand that.
Right.
Okay, but did you hear what else he said? That days before this protest, Trump went to he was in the Department of Defense at that point, and he went to Kash Patel and he said, we're going to need the National Guard there that day. We want to make sure the area is secure. They prepared and got the National Guard ready to be there. Kash Patel himself called Nancy Pelosi, called Chuck Schumer, and called the mayor of Washington, D.C., and they all refused the National Guard. Why?
Yeah. No, that could be true.
If the president wants them there.
That could be true. That is true.
Because he knew maybe this will get a little out of hand. Why did they refuse it? I'm going to tell you what my theory is, and you could say you're crazy.
I'd have to look at those facts again, but I have heard that before from reputable sources.
Testified. Kash Patel just testified.
Well, I wish that part included his theory. I'd have to look at those facts again, then look at them again, Bill, because that's the true story of where we're at these days. All right. Talk about true stories of where we're at. Here's another 60 Minutes clip of insanity. 60 Minutes claimed that Christina Dry was fired this month in the chaotic shutdown of U.S. aid. What they didn't tell you, Christina wasn't a U.S. aid employee. She worked for XLA and a Jefferson Partners, providing speechwriting services for USAID. Paul Suzuka, 60 Minutes should have known better than to try like this. They got busted in less than a few hours. Decades and decades of money laundering. 60 Minutes is trash, all paid propaganda. Falsely saying President Trump doesn't have the right to shut down USAID by executive order, when USAID was created by executive order in 1961. Here, let's hear this little piece.
People are really scared. I think that, 12 days ago, people knew where their next paycheck was coming from. They knew how they were going to pay for their kids' daycare, their medical bills, and then all gone overnight.
All gone overnight for Christina Dry and Adam Dubard, fired this month in the chaotic shutdown of foreign aid distributed by the U.S. Agency for International Development, USAID. More than 8,000 USAID employees were sent home by the administration.
All unnecessary spending with $36 trillion on the credit card. 36 trillion. We don't have a square to spare, to use the Seinfeld analogy when Elaine was in the restroom. Do you have a square to spare? I'm sorry, I don't have a square to spare. You have to prioritize your own stuff.
They're not looking for competency. They're not looking for if you're good at your job. They're looking for pure loyalty tests. And if you don't give it, you will be punished.
And they had to leave the building. And these are folks who had decades and decades of public service serving USAID across administrations, from, George Bush to Obama to the first Trump administration. And they were never able to walk back in the building again.
There was no process. No one explained to them why they were being relieved.
To my knowledge, they received an email, and then if they didn't leave the building, they were escorted out of the building. People are really scared.
Yeah, that's called they got fired. All right, take a look at this. We're talking about auditing Fort Knox and how important it is to kind of get a grip on what we sort of all suspect, that there's rampant fraud everywhere, and we wonder how these politicians making $200,000 a year are becoming $47 million rich. Elon and Doge, according to the Real State of America, sharing this here. Elon and Doge have discovered that there are 394 million Social Security recipients in the United States, despite the country only having 334 million citizens, a discrepancy of more than 60 million. 20 million are over 100 years old, including 2,039 individuals who are, of course, more than 200 years old. Look, people over 100 to 109, 4.7 million people, 109 years old. 3.6 million, 119 years old. 3.4 million, 129 years old. Look at this. These people are all over 200 years old. How about this person that's 369 years old? 369. Some of this might be logging. Doggone it, it's the wrong screen size. Some of this could be clerical errors, and some of this could be ongoing fraud. Yeah, someone's got to foot the bill. This is exactly what you clean up. Adults clean up messes like this. Criminals fight to keep up the charade. That's nuts. All right. This is an oh no, what happened? Instagram. Okay. The NBA All-Star game was on yesterday. I thought it was weird, 1st to 40. I didn't like the format. The dunk contest was okay. 3-point was all right. Skills challenge. Hey, go Cavaliers. My favorite team. The game kind of sucked. But this was weird. You know, Charles Barkley, you'll agree with him on some things. You'll disagree with him on some things. But he is very outspoken. And he was in San Francisco for the All-Star festivities, and he had a rather straightforward comment, and he got booed for it. Kind of weird.
I actually like San Francisco. I really do. I love to hear that. I do. I mean, obviously, hey, listen, we got to do something about the homeless. They need their help. We need to clean it up a little bit. Hey,
no, you can't boo that you want to help the homeless. How do you boo that?
They're booing helping the homeless.
I don't know if that's a boo.
Badly timed boo. See, that's how I said help the homeless, and some of these people are so stupid they booed. I actually like San Francisco.
Seriously, how stupid could you be to boo that? That was pretty ridiculous. The game was kind of ridiculous too. Now, this is satire. This is AI, but it does kind of applaud what happened. The hockey, what is this called? The nations face off. U.S. I wonder if I have a clip of that, or geez, if they'd even take it down. They're so touchy over their sports clips.
Booed our national anthem, so I had to come out and teach those maple
He's gonna start cussing. Oh well.
syrup eating fucks a lesson. Canada, we own you, lil bro. We don't want Canada as our 51st state until they learn how to play hockey. Sam Bennett and Drew Doty, y'all softer than Charmin Ultra Soft. Me and my brother own Canada. We are Canada's biggest nightmare since Justin Trudeau. Best day in U.S. history since we won World War II. They booed.
So that's satire, but it got chippy up there. Speaking of getting chippy and having attitude, I guess I probably won't. Should I play the clip? Well, Benny Johnson here showing Saturday Night Live decided it was a good idea to depict Tom Hanks as a racist Trump supporter in a MAGA hat, afraid to shake a black man's hand. By the way, Donald Trump just won a landslide election, has never been more popular with Americans, and they've learned nothing. Yeah, I think Tom Hanks, I think he dances when the puppet masters tell him to. I think he's very corrupted. I think that information, expect to see some of that information come out sometime soon. Whether it's an Epstein list or a Diddy list or something. Tom Hanks has been connected to a lot of weird stories. And if you're still going on this anti-Trump tirade, there's something wrong. You're either compromised or you're a fool, or you've been brainwashed. It could be any combination of that. Let's just play the clip. Doggone it.
Speaking of church, can I say something? If more folks went to church, yes, we wouldn't be in this mess we're in now.
So he's a Make America Great Again Trump supporter here.
You know what? I agree with you, Doug. I'd like to shake your hand, sir. Here we go.
No.
Oh, no.
Like that.
Oh, no. It's
what a dumb skit. No, I don't like that.
It's a handshake. Yeah, it's just a handshake. Yeah, all right. You're welcome in Black Jeopardy anytime.
All right. Well.
Scared to shake a dude's hand.
Thank you, my brother. Maybe I'll start a show for you to come on, and we'll call it What Jeopardy?
No, we don't need it. We don't need it.
This is just dumb.
Oh, well, thank you.
That's pretty dumb. But that's the left. They don't understand any of this. Here's more on the Amy Klobuchar. Oh boy. She is from Minnesota. Democrat from Minnesota, Amy Klobuchar. She's always at the center of these dumb conversations. Here she is on CNN with another one.
You know that our policy of our government should not be giving $2 trillion in tax cuts to the wealthiest and paying for it.
This Truth Politics saying Klobuchar is spreading proven lies on CNN, claiming Trump is cutting cancer research and eliminating Head Start program. Both of these claims are false. She treats her people like idiots because she's a Democrat, and Democrats treat their voters like idiots. So be smarter and stop voting Democrat.
By cuts to cancer research at NIH, something that has bipartisan support for years and years, or stopping Head Start, or freezing people who are trying to protect our nuclear stockpile. I know they are, but what I'm saying is at some point the pressure is on them. You know that our
at some point the pressure is on them. Smarten up, vote against the lying Democrat Party. Amy Klobuchar. So if you want to know why people are so fixated on Trump and Musk and Doge, well, Tim Burchett has an opinion here.
Where we are.
Well, that's an excellent question. And when you see people here in Tennessee paying 50% of their income to state, federal, and local taxes through through everything else, fees and everything else, and then they see us sending literally billions overseas to our enemies. I've uncovered $40 million going to the Taliban. A guy named Sean Ryan over in Middle Tennessee, former Navy SEAL, podcaster, he and another guy named Legend had brought this to my attention. And, last term, I could not even get the Democrats to bring it up in the Senate. It passed unanimous in the House, not even a question, because they're going to have to admit they made a mistake, and they've continuously made a mistake, and
they're unwilling to own their L. The only way you get better is when you own your mistakes. And the Democrats, they can't admit that their party's been taken over by radicals and that the American people have soundly rejected the Obama doctrine. 16 years of hell being led with this Obama doctrine. Americans never wanted it like that. Yeah, had no problem voting in a half black, half white guy. No problem. All right, hopeity hope, changeity change. Okay, what you didn't really understand is that we are 5 days away from fundamentally transforming the United States of America. Nobody ever wanted that. We wanted a radical transformation back to limited government. We never wanted this Marxist hellscape.
They did it on purpose is the worst part about it. And this graph that you're seeing, and that's 100% what it is. Yeah. I think you're going to see a paper trail come back to Washington, D.C. And that's why I think a lot of people are nervous, and you'll see a lot of retirements because they are stealing from the American taxpayer, and now they've got their hand caught in the cookie jar, and all they can do is attack Elon Musk.
Yeah, that's well said. Real Ben Geller, happy President's Day. Remember when our president got shot in the head? Commenting, we are on the best timeline now. Happy President's Day, people. God, we were close to a world war. This is the same clip this is Michael Franzesi raising concerns over claims that Kash Patel called Pelosi and Schumer in DC, and they wouldn't do it. I wonder if this clip has the second part, because he has a theory.
Patel just testified in front of the confirmation here.
Yeah, he said even this fucking right-wing QAnon nut, even he says he's against Trump pardoning the J6 rioters.
Yeah.
He said that.
He did say
you know that?
Because some of them beat up the cops. I understand that.
Right.
Okay, but did you hear what else he said? That days before this protest, Trump went he was in the Department of Defense at that point, and he went to Kash Patel and he said, we're going to need the National Guard there that day. We want to make sure the area is secure. They prepared and got the National Guard ready to be there. Kash Patel himself called Nancy Pelosi, called Chuck Schumer, and called the mayor of Washington, D.C., and they all refused the National Guard. Why?
Yeah. No, that could be true.
If the president wants them there, because he knew maybe this will get a little out of hand, why did they refuse it? I'm going to tell you what my theory is, and you could say you're crazy.
I'd have to look at those facts again, but I have heard that before from reputable sources.
Kash Patel.
Doggone it, didn't include the second part. But yeah, that's an important part that we need to always be cognizant of. Lisa Daftari saying, here's a reminder, by the way, because as I mentioned, one of those Hamas leaders was targeted and eliminated. Lisa Daftari says, here's a reminder that the first Trump administration offered Palestinians $52 billion through through the Peace to Prosperity plan to transform Gaza into, quote, the Riviera of the Middle East, end quote. It included homes, businesses, arts programs, and education for a better future. The proposal was rejected without consideration. Yet another missed opportunity by leadership, the PA, Hamas, and the PLO before them, that has always perpetuated victimhood over progress. It's sad. There were off-ramps. Kind of seems like the off-ramps would have been preferable to this war. Maybe not to everybody. They're getting what they asked for, but I hate to see senseless suffering. Yeah, here you go. This is another accounting of it. Elon Musk's Doge team has uncovered over 25 million people aged 100 or older. 25 million people 100 years or older in Social Security database. Some older than the Constitution. There are a lot of vampires collecting Social Security. Jail everyone collecting those fraudulent checks. Do it this month. 250-year-old people collecting Social Security checks.
All right. So,
you know, I mean, look, I've said this for a while, and I sort of encountered this. I was in a spot trying to work with some people, but they had derangement syndrome. They were the same people that had Trump derangement syndrome at the time, but they turned it into Brian derangement syndrome. I was the easy target for status quo, decision-making, organization, power structure, control. And for a while, I thought, like, these people, if I came to a meeting and said, hey, let's be ready when we leave, how would I frame it? If I just said, hey, be ready for the meeting, it's going to be fantastic weather, 85 and sunny, these people would show up in galoshes, in a raincoat, with a hood, with an umbrella, because whatever I said, they had to be the opposite of it. It is the Trump derangement syndrome so much that now on MSNBC, because Trump is the president, check this one out. Now they want to cancel President's Day.
So the headline here is presidential historian says President's Day is ridiculous. We should scrap it. What do you mean?
It is a little bit silly. I mean, we have had some real duds, so I'm not sure we really want to be celebrating all presidents. And the tradition actually comes from celebrating birthdays, which is a celebration that we inherited from celebrating the king. And I'm just not sure that that's exactly what we want. Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure that we necessarily want to celebrate the people. I think that we want to have a certain respect for the office. I totally get that. And some have done extraordinary things, but by celebrating all of them, I do think it causes us to think of the president as somehow other, when in reality, they are a citizen just like everyone else.
What an odd thing to say. There are claims that not every president has been a citizen. But I digress. Yeah, SNL, what did you say? So now leftist. So nauseatingly leftist. I think there's a joke in there. There's a good joke in there. All right, let's go to Grok here. Or, I'm sorry, let's go to our X feed and tear through the rest of the news. Where's this? I guess I could go up and down, maybe. All right, as I always do when I click on here, I see our documentary Hurricane Helene Help on the Way. And here's an ad that I would like to get rid of so that I could play the clip. Thank you. Got to get rid of the second clip. Sorry about that. I should have muted it. didn't really think I was going to play it, but every time I see it, I just want to ask, if you haven't seen Hurricane Helene, Help on the Way, please watch it. It's a documentary about when we went to North Carolina and we had a tour of the damaged areas. And these are areas that are still in desperate need of rebuilding. Let me just go ahead and put it up full screen for you. Please watch this. Here we go. Oh, I got to share this screen instead. Sorry. There we go. Big screen. Almost. Full screen. I don't know what picture in picture is. Hold on. It's just full screen. Yeah. There? All right, that'll do.
There was no notifications going to your phone, like an Amber Alert, like evacuate. I get alerts from Denny's. There actually was a bunch of houses right here that aren't here now. You can see, look how big the river is, like the riverbed. Holy, look at this Dollar General, bro.
It blesses your heart to see the way people have come together.
Yeah. I heard like 4 different people talking about like how everybody's just worried this initial hype's gonna die away and people are just gonna forget about it. And really none of these communities can afford to be forgotten.
So please check that out. That is our documentary, Hurricane Helene, Help on the Way. And you can find that pinned on our X feed at American_media_. All right, let's scroll through the news and see some odds and ends. The Green Lives Matter is saying an actor named Isaac Cappy insisted that Tom Hanks was a child predator. Once his eyes were open to the evil inherent in Hollywood, he refused to stay silent. He swiftly paid the price, being found dead close to Route 66 on an apparent suicide. Tom Hanks would then proceed to post a cryptic social media post about roadkill on Route 66. Now Hanks is mocking MAGA as some kind of racist hillbillies when MAGA has done more to save children than any movement in modern history. What really happened to Isaac Cappy in his time? That's a conversation to consider. Tom Hanks wants to put his name out there, then all right. You want to do stuff like that and try to say Trump supporters are backward racists? All right. Okay. Let's consider the Tom Hanks story, all of it, shall we? Here's this activist judge being reported by Mario Naufal. Activist judge who blocked Trump's spending. Activist judge who blocked Trump's spending. I want to say spending spree. I'm going to try. I'm going to get it right. Activist judge who blocked Trump's spending freeze has hidden money ties. He failed to disclose his role at Crossroads, Rhode Island, while ruling against Trump's spending freeze. His nonprofit got $128 million in government funding during his 18-year board tenure, including $42 million from 2020 to 23. Rhode Island, a plaintiff in the case, already sent this organization $2.9 million in 25. The judge ordered federal funds to keep flowing to states and coincidentally to his own nonprofit. Federal law requires judges to recuse themselves when their impartiality might be questioned. Wonder why he didn't. Yeah, so the quote would be, so this is the part of the story where he loses his law license, is disbarred and indicted? Question mark. Feels about right, huh?
Began to soar.
Let's check this video clip out. You know, we're talking about Fort Knox. Let's get a little historical context here. This is from 1982, I think. Let's take a look at this piece.
Naturally, gold prices immediately began to soar. 9 years later, gold sold for $880 per ounce, 25 times what the gold in Fort Knox was sold for. One would think that eventually someone in the government would get wind of what was happening and blow the whistle. The largest fortune in the history of the world stolen. Shades of the old James Bond film, Goldfinger. Well, as a matter of fact, Ian Fleming, the author of the James Bond series, was head of the British counterintelligence service, MI5.
I think it's pronounced Jan Fleming.
Some believe in the intelligence community that he wrote much of his fiction as a warning, as many authors of fiction do.
If the removal of all the good delivery gold from Fort Knox can be viewed as a deliberate raid on the U.S. Treasury, then such an operation might well have been years in the making, namely 40 years. Certainly enough time for Fleming to get wind of it and try to prevent it.
So just how did the story of the Fort Knox gold robbery get out?
I love the story. I love this video. You know, you leave historical breadcrumbs behind. I've heard that there are tungsten bars that are spray painted gold. They're dipped in gold or something. They're not actually, but they weigh roughly the same amount. For whatever reason, they use tungsten. But that the pirates have looted the treasure of this country a long time ago. Were they the Anunnaki? Were they the banking elites? And I say elites very loosely. I challenge anyone to tell me why we need bankers. I could understand paying a slight overhead fee for safe transport of funds. Like I get Wells Fargo, and if you're traveling across a continent and you were trying to keep it resources safe, and you were prone to a lot of theft and attack and loss and theft, and okay, I get paying a premium, but like in a digital age, what are we even talking about here?
It all started with an article in a New York periodical in 1974. The article charged that the Rockefeller family was manipulating the Federal Reserve to sell off Fort Knox gold at bargain basement prices to anonymous European speculators.
That sounds like treason to me. And if so, if it's determined, could you confiscate all the Rockefeller money?
3 days later, the anonymous source of the story, Louise Auchincloss Boyer, mysteriously fell to her death from the window of her 10th floor apartment in New York. How would Mrs. Boyer have known of the Rockefeller connection to the Fort Knox gold heist? She was the longtime secretary of Nelson Rockefeller.
Oh.
For the next 14 years, this man, Ed Durrell, a wealthy Ohio industrialist, devoted himself to a quest for the truth concerning the Fort Knox gold. He wrote thousands of letters to over 1,000 government and banking officials, trying to find out how much gold was really left and where the rest of it had gone.
Edith Roosevelt, the granddaughter of President Teddy Roosevelt, questioned the actions of the government in a March 1975 edition of the New Hampshire Sunday News.
Allegations of missing gold from our Fort Knox vaults are being widely discussed in European financial circles. But what is puzzling is that the administration is not hastening to demonstrate conclusively that there is no cause for concern over our gold treasure, if indeed it is in a position to do so.
Unfortunately, Ed Durrell never did accomplish his primary goal, a full audit of the gold reserves in Fort Knox. It's incredible.
Okay. There's only one assumption if you've never been able to do an audit. Like, it has to be assumed that this has already been stolen. You audit everything, especially gold reserves. You audit banks. You audit everything. You balance your checkbook. That's what you do. That's what everybody does. The only people who don't do it are the ones that are trying to get away with something, and the only reason you don't do it is if you're trying to get away with something. Prove me wrong.
Incredible that the world's greatest treasure has had little accounting or auditing. This gold belonged to the American people, not the Federal Reserve and their foreign owners. One thing is certain, the government could blow all of this speculation away in a few days with a well-publicized audit under the searing lights of media cameras. It has chosen not to do so. One must conclude that they are afraid of the truth such an audit would reveal. What is the government so afraid of? Here's the answer. When President Ronald Reagan took office in 1981, his conservative friends urged him to study the feasibility of returning to a gold standard as the only way to curb government spending.
Trying to curb government spending, and what happens? They tried to kill him, whoever they are.
It sounded like a reasonable alternative, so President Reagan appointed a group of men called the Gold Commission to study the situation and report back to Congress. What Reagan's Gold Commission reported back to Congress in 1982 was the following shocking revelation concerning gold. The U.S. Treasury owned no gold at all. All the gold that was left in Fort Knox was now owned by the Federal Reserve.
Are we serious right now?
A group of private bankers as collateral against the national debt. The truth of the matter is that never before has so much money been stolen from the hands of the general public and put into the hands of a small group of private investors, the money changers.
The money changers. Explain to me why. Alex Jones here reporting articles of impeachment to remove globalist judges blocking the Trump Doge investigations of fraud, waste, and abuse. Donald Trump Jr. saying, if you think it's a coincidence that Jeffrey Epstein's lawyer became a federal judge, and that very same judge of thousands of judges was the person to sign off on the Mar-a-Lago search warrant, then you haven't been paying attention. SG Anon says, this little internet gem aged like a good Shiraz. Here's Javier Milei explaining all of it.
Al zurdo de mierda no le podés dar ni un milímetro.
¿Me podés definir zurdo de mierda que no?
All right, hold on. I got to translate this. Let me lower the volume. You can't give shit leftards an inch.
Al zurdo de mierda no le podés dar ni un milímetro.
Can you define shit leftist?
Todos los que digamos
All collectivists, all kinds of collectivists.
los colectivistas, los que ponen digamos, o sea, esa idea.
But why do you call them shit?
¿Por qué le pones de mierda, digamos?
Porque son una mierda.
Because they are shit. Miedra.
O sea, no, pero es que si pensás
If you think differently from them, they will kill you. This is the point. You can't give shit leftists an inch. You give an inch, they will use it to destroy you. You can't negotiate with leftards. You don't negotiate with trash because they will end you. And they, the left, have a guy that beats his wife off. If it's one of them, he puts on a green scarf, no abortion. He yells about neoliberalism all the time, and they hide it. Suddenly, there's a journalist that molests another journalist. They hide it. When it's one of them, they hide it. They hide all those aberrations. Now, if you're on the other side, they will ruin you. They kill you. They will throw you everything. They don't care if they ruin your whole life. Why? Only because you don't like it. You don't like what's the good part in all this? But because since error is human, since everyone can be mistaken, they force us to be better. Since we are getting better than them, since we are crushing them in a cultural battle, we're not only superior economically, we are morally superior, aesthetically superior. We're better than them at everything, and that triggers them. Since they can't beat us with real arguments, they just use the repressive apparatus of the state with loads of taxpayer money to destroy us. And yet they're still losing. They had to remove the blacklist. You understand? They're losing. They're desperate. Shit leftists are losing the cultural battle. For the first time ever, they are cornered. Those shit leftards. We just said this checks out. It's a cultural battle, and we're right in the middle of it. We're 1 month in. 1 month in, so many more months to go. This one here, MAGA Voice says, Germany will throw you in prison if you retweet this video of thousands of Germans protesting open borders late last year. Do not repost this. Germany supports illegals more than they support their own citizens. Vice President J.D. Vance is right. Here's one.
Yep.
British police and a psychologist showed up in a man's home because he had written on social media, "Christians must stand up," after an Islamist attack. In UK and Europe, there is no freedom of speech. JD Vance is right.
Name and number, please, mate.
Yeah, PC Green, Echo Bravo 428.
John Joe, PC Turner, Hastings Police Station,
Thank you.
959.
So what's this about then?
So it was just a few
I won't film
concerns.
you, I'll just get it recorded.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Just a few concerns.
It's smelly right now, sorry.
It's all right.
He's like a mop, he just picks everything up.
It's lovely. What's his name?
Klaus. So why are you here today, sorry? No, you can all sit down, it's not a problem. You've literally just missed the missus and that. They've gone out like 10 minutes ago. Yeah. So what's the issue?
So it was just to, obviously what we've been told, that you might have a few concerns, a few things that are bothering you at the moment.
Yeah.
Whether there's
That's
anything...
bothering everyone else in the country right now. So what are the concerns you're here for? Because this is religious discrimination right now, because you wouldn't be knocking on Muslims' doors if they had this conversation, because I already know why you're here. So this is religious.
Why do you think we're here?
I don't know, what's the priest told you?
They're just, people have raised concerns.
What concerns?
About your views.
What
whether
views?
That you've got concerns about what's going on in Australia.
Yeah, so I'm an Orthodox Christian. Now you've turned up at my house because I went and see my priest. So I'm going to get you all on film because this is going straight to my solicitor.
So what are your concerns? Is there anything that we can help with?
No, firstly, I don't mean any disrespect to any of you. I don't want to sound abruptive. You can tell me why you're here.
Yeah.
So I think, as PC Sams explains, so there was a report about some beliefs being expressed. So the reason I'm here, because I work for the NHS.
You had beliefs that were expressed.
Yes, and if you're willing, I'm happy to talk and listen with you.
No, that's
about
fine.
If you've got any concerns about your well-being.
No, I'm fine. I'm fine.
Concerns about your well-being, and that's when the dog starts barking. You're right, dog. Sniff out the bullshit here.
Sorry. No, because he's just jarring otherwise. You can sit down, mate.
So my understanding is, now I'm not a police officer, I'm a nurse, so my understanding is...
Because I've questioned about the church not acting on the behalf of Christians, you're now turning up here with mental health nurses, assuming that I'm some right-wing nut.
So no one assumes anything. Can I explain my point of view? And you're happy, I'm happy to...
No, that's fine, because I...
Come on, Europe, get it together.
Trump stuff, it's getting too fun. Listen.
Here's a TikToker. Libs of TikTok is saying, you better watch this guy. I would agree.
All the Elon Trump stuff, it's getting to a point, man. It's getting like somebody is going to have to, preferably someone who's already doing it, so one of y'all. But somebody's going to have to just throw their life away on this one,
Someone's going to have to throw their life away on this one.
Just kind of take one for the team, just somebody has got to just, kind of get in there and go make history. You know who you are. You know who you are. So just buck up and do your duty, Listen, all the...
This dude looking like he's wearing a Humpty Hump glasses and nose costume from Costco. Yeah, calling for Elon and Trump to be taken out, tagging the FBI and Secret Service. Elon reposted this and said, everybody dies, but not everybody lives.
Advice.
All right, Liz Churchill talking about Bill Gates. This is RFK Jr., the new head of Health and Human Services, talking about Bill Gates.
Advisory board was on CNN earlier today. He said this.
Of course, he's going to do everything he can to make vaccines less available and less affordable. He is about to certainly hurt the vaccine infrastructure in this country. And I think what's about to happen is he is about to join hands with Donald Trump and march together into measles land, because I think that's what's about to happen.
So you're now going to be responsible, not an open border. You're going to be responsible for a measles outbreak. That's the new line from the vaccine community.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to take away anybody's vaccine. If people are happy with their vaccines, they ought to be able to get them. What we're going to do is give people good science. We don't have good safety studies on almost any of the vaccines. The vaccines are the one medical product that is exempt from pre-licensing safety studies. So I sued HHS a few years ago in 2018, and I said, show us one study, one pre-licensing study of any of the vaccines that are now, the 72 vaccines that are now mandated for children on the childhood schedule. And after a year of sandbagging, HHS came to the courthouse and handed us a letter and saying, yeah, there are no studies.
That is astonishing. If anyone can prove the opposite.
The only vaccine that is on the childhood schedule that had a placebo-controlled double-blind trial was the COVID vaccine. None of the other ones have. That doesn't mean you have to do that kind of trial now, but you need to know what the risk profile is for these products.
I'm very excited for Bobby to get involved here. Back to Europe. Aaron is saying here, 40 years after the Swedish parliament unanimously decided to change the formerly homogenous Sweden into a multicultural country, violent crime has now increased 300% and rapes are up 1,472%. Sweden is now the rape capital of the West. And it's saying that 1 in 4 Swedish women will be assaulted, as increases are up 500%. The second highest number of assaults in the world, right after South Africa. And there's a common trend in South Africa and in Sweden. And it's amazing that people have been shamed into silence about this. This is why you want to know your neighbors. You're very unlikely to attack a neighbor if you've been there for 3 decades and they've been there for 3 decades. You root for each other, you care for each other, you look out for each other. You'll get their mail if they're out of town. You'll help them if their chicken flies over your fence. You'll whatever, like you help your neighbors. You look out for each other. You dump millions of people from cultures unknown that haven't been vetted, that might have criminal pasts. You haven't weeded out the monsters. Yeah, this is obviously going to happen. And it doesn't have to happen. It never had to happen. But this is the Obama doctrine to flood every nation with people that are not residents of that nation. And it's okay to call all of that out and oppose it. Speaking of other stuff you might want to call out and oppose, Lauren Boebert here talking about let's just let her say this. This is, man.
To lab animals. Have you heard of that sort of research?
Yeah, we did an analysis a few years ago showing that over 90% of experiments with using human fetal tissue and putting them involved animals were funded by Fauci's NIAID.
Fauci's NIAID is taking human fetal tissue from aborted baby parts and putting them into animals.
Do you know where they're getting the aborted human fetal tissue?
A lot of it is happening at colleges and universities that have affiliated hospitals that perform that procedure.
Madam Chair, I think we need to look into that as well. Implant.
Yep, encouraging the steady flow of human parts. Like, there's a really dark side to this pharmaceutical industry. Really dark side to air quote medicine. Post-millennial reporting. David Hogg is under fire from fellow Democrats for using the DNC contact lists to fundraise for his personal political action committee. Tim Pool laughing, haha, dude, it's only been a couple of weeks and homie's already getting caught in a corruption scandal. Riley Gaines saying, this is how you know Kash Patel is about to be confirmed. Breaking. Former FBI agent Peter Strzok removes all posts from his ex account. When is Kash getting confirmed? I wish it was last week. He should be on the job already. Let's make this happen immediately. Took all of his posts down. Shared from the Unlimited L's account. Just in, here's a California felon who brutally abused and then ended an 8-year-old girl after luring her with ice cream could soon be back on the streets due to a woke California juvenile justice law that was authored by Kamala Harris during her tenure as California's Attorney General. The jury of 4 women, 8 men, and 2 alternate jurors, both men, will decide if Adrian Gonzalez will be released. Adrian Jerry A.J. Gonzalez, 25 years old, pled guilty in juvenile court in 2021. He was set to be released in October due to Proposition 57, which allows his parole eligibility at 25 for crimes committed in juvenile court. Gonzalez was tried in juvenile court when he was 21 and received a maximum sentence of 3 years. Before his release, Santa Cruz County DA petitioned to keep him locked up because he may be a danger to society. That's a death penalty case. We shouldn't be continuing to pay for this guy to breathe. Agree or disagree? Matt Van Swol saying that The Guardian has just released an article where they sent a reporter to Western North Carolina and then scolded Hurricane Helene victims for A, not understanding climate change, B, voting for President Trump, and C, believing in God. This is absolutely disgusting. The calamity in Western North Carolina can't even be put into words. Did I show you the raid? I don't think I showed you the beginning of this. Let's show you this, the 60 Minutes piece. The raid. German police on a citizen for posting a meme online.
It's 6:01 on a Tuesday morning, and we were with state police as they raided this apartment in northwest Germany.
Hier ist die Polizei, wir mussten bitte mal mit ihm reden.
Inside, 6 armed officers searched a suspect's home, then seized his laptop and cell phone. Prosecutors say those electronics may have been used to commit a crime. The crime, posting a racist cartoon online.
Yeah, cartoons aren't crimes. Elon showing this graphic here. Here's the money for hurricane aid, a couple of pennies. And over here, money for transgender comic books in Peru. Where's the priorities? Some people are lashing out at the Democrats, though, who are attacking Elon Musk and Doge. Here's a nice little piece.
I do not care that Elon Musk is unconventional in his methods. So according to Jasmine Crockett, who said that she is also on the House Budgeting Committee, Elon Musk is doing things wrong, and that's why Democrats are so upset. She said that what he's supposed to do when he discovers these things is convene a committee and have a committee meeting so that they can discuss things quietly. He is not supposed to bring things to the attention of the American people, and he has been posting things on X. He's been vocal about it on social media every time he finds something. But I do not care if his methods are unconventional. I think that the reason they want him to discover these things and keep it behind closed doors so that they can continue with this money laundering that they have been doing over the last few years. And I'm curious too about Jasmine Crockett because she loves to talk about the oppression of the black person in this country and how white people, according to her, will never understand how it feels to be a black person in America. This is what Jasmine Crockett loves to talk about. But what about the oppression of the American taxpayer? You have taxes taken out of your paycheck before you even get it. And our government, our elected officials are sending our tax dollars all over the world, paying for the most ridiculous things on our dime. $59 million spent on housing undocumented migrants in the state of New York in luxury hotels. $59 million. But meanwhile, we have American citizens who are sleeping in tents and who lost everything they have. But our government managed to come up with $59 million to house undocumented immigrants in luxury hotels in the state of New York. If Jasmine Crockett and all these other Democrats were really for the people, this is what they would be talking about. They would be advocating for the people instead of advocating against an appointed elected official who is doing his job.
There you go. Here's a thread of some crazy things that your tax dollars are spent on. $20 million on Iraqi Sesame Street. Goodness. $70,000 for a DEI musical in Ireland. Transgender opera in Colombia. Gender training for Sri Lankan journalists, $8 million. A terror-linked charity, $7.8 million. Michigan-based nonprofit. $2 million for sex changes in Guatemala. Helping the Taliban make drug profits. Millions to a Wuhan lab partner. Maybe this is the one, EcoHealth Alliance, that funded COVID-19. It just goes on and on. Serbian LGBTQ It just keeps going on and on. A total lack of prioritization, or it's all money laundering and theft. John A. Conrad here says, look, I get it, Dems. You think nuking US aid is dumb. You think handing the government computers to big balls is dumb. You think blaming the plane crash on DEI is dumb. You think JD's speech in Europe is dumb. Fine, maybe you're right, maybe you're wrong, whatever. But that's not the point. Every administration in American history has done dumb things. What none of them have done, what is truly mind-melting, pants-on head, clown world on dope, 50 IQ Neanderthal smoking weed dumb, was paying NGOs to smuggle tens of millions of people, including criminals, across the border, then handing them free 5-star hotels, cell phones, and ATM cards. A 5-year-old can understand that was Bozo the Clown on crack levels of stupid. That's the new threshold, Democrats. That's the low water mark on idiotic policy. Argue all you want, but until we propose something half as mind-bendingly brain dead as that, I don't care. DC Drano trying to put this into perspective. It's probably important. I know this tariff battle has gotten Canadians seemingly pitted against Americans, but I want to make something clear for the record. Our beef is not with the Canadian people. It is with the liberal Canadian government terrorizing the Canadian people. Tens of millions of Americans appreciate the Canadian truckers for what they did to destroy COVID protocols worldwide. We are now fighting your hostile government to help liberate you. Please keep that in mind. Scott Adams calling this out, and that this lady seriously has the crazy eyes. I was asked the other day, are crazy eyes a thing? I'm like, oh yeah. Oh yeah, crazy eyes are a thing. Actually, let me take a picture to send this. There we go.
Big changes in Google. Some of them not that surprising. Look at Google Maps. The Gulf of Mexico has been most likely renamed in your phone as the Gulf of America after President Trump said that was one of the early things he wanted to accomplish. Other users say they've noticed that some default dates in Google's calendar aren't there anymore, like Pride, Black History Month, Women's History Month, Holocaust Remembrance Day, just to name a few. Now, according to The Verge, a Google spokesperson says that those date changes were actually already happening back in 2024. Basically, it was too much to try to remember all of these different default dates, explaining that Google Calendar now defers to public holidays and national observances globally, listed on timeanddate.com. But Google's been supportive of Trump, everything from inauguration donations to the head of Google actually being one of the tech CEOs that went to the inauguration back in January. Trump has made combating DEI, or diversity, equity, and inclusion, a key part of his administration in the early days, so much so that commemorating these kinds of days or months, from Pride to Black History to Women's History, has somehow become a centerpiece. Not surprising, people are not pleased and they're speaking out about it, some calling it a disgrace to see these kinds of changes. What do you think?
What do you think? I think she has some crazy eyes. And yeah, this divisive, everybody has a day, everybody has a month, everybody. Man, is it's exhausting. A million genders. Give me a break. Frank A. Boom. All right, next. John Wooten saying illegal aliens can't get a social security number. Wait, hold on. If illegal aliens can't get a social security number, how are they working? And if they're working, where did they get the fake social security number? And if they have a fake social security number, why doesn't Social Security know it? Unless Social Security is handing out fake social security numbers. And the fake numbers are illegal aliens. Yeah. Here's Jordan Peterson talking about the weaponization of medicine.
Down against hydroxychloroquine.
And why was that?
Dr. Simone Gold, and this is Jordan Peterson.
Let's lay that out just briefly.
Right. In real time, it was bizarre. People coming out against it. It's 70 years approved by the FDA. It's completely benign. Across the world, it's over the counter.
So those are the reasons.
It turns out in America, to release the vaccine on an EUA, an emergency use authorization schedule, the prerequisite is that there's no other treatment available.
That's the damning clause. If anything else worked that had been pre-approved.
By law, you would not able to release the Pfizer.
So my brother was denied care. He was denied hydroxychloroquine. He was denied ivermectin. He was denied monoclonal antibodies. You should have never had anybody tell anybody to deny any kind of care ever. That is insane, especially things that have been out for 70 years. And what could it possibly hurt to add it to the mix? Very little compared to the mammoth side effects of the other things that they were forcing people to take. And if they didn't, then they were just letting them expire or forcing them to.
Shots. Starting the middle of March 2020, it was like poison. You know, people were scared. The chain pharmaceuticals were instructing their pharmacists not to prescribe it. If a
doctors were terrified, they were being threatened. They would their medical license if they prescribed hydroxychloroquine or ivermectin. Insane. All to keep a profit. All to keep emergency use authorization. Madness, monstrosity. Families permanently ruined because of this. This is not a small
patient
issue.
came in, the pharmacist would get a red box on their screen. So pharmacists at the drugstore were being empowered to interfere with the practice of medicine, which in America is illegal. They're specifically by law not allowed to interfere with a doctor's decision. All day long, that's all they did. So if you found yourself a doctor who would prescribe it, the pharmacist blocked it.
Never forget, never forgive. David Sachs saying that the U.S. now has World War II levels of indebtedness without fighting a world war. So where'd all the money go? The greatest generation incurred that debt to defeat the Nazis and Imperial Japan. In our case, nobody even knows where the money went, and you're not allowed to ask. Elon saying having world war level of national debt without fighting a world war is catastrophic. The Doge team is tracing and stopping the insane levels of waste and fraud very quickly. Alex sharing here the secret history of who ended the United States' incredibly successful tariff system and how it built the globalist tyranny waging war against humanity today. Take a look. Do you know that Bill Clinton and Al Gore were the original Doges? They cut the federal workforce by 377,000 employees using buyouts and early retirements. During Bill Clinton's presidency, the federal workforce was reduced by 377K. The biggest cut since World War II. This is part of the National Partnership for Reinventing Government led by Al Gore, which aimed to streamline operations, cut costs, and improve efficiency. The initiative, originally called the National Performance Review, targeted 426,000 positions, using buyouts, early retirements, and restructuring to shrink bureaucracy. By 2000, the federal workforce was at its smallest size in 40 years, with savings reinvested into public services. Yeah, because that's what you're supposed to do. Liz Churchill here sharing why we should arrest Anthony Fauci. I'm in.
Fauci, when he was sitting there,
Peter Navarro, who we saw at the Republican convention in Milwaukee the day he was released. I think that video is on our Rumble and YouTube channel. Hit like, hit subscribe, however you're watching, by the way.
that SOB knew for a fact that that virus came from the Wuhan lab.
We all did.
He knew that because he had funded the gain-of-function research in that lab.
That we weren't supposed to be doing.
And he had already begun to design a cover-up. And we know that from the emails he sent to a group of researchers, academics, trying to get their support to push that come from nature theory. And that's the biggest lie of omission in American history. Because if he had simply owned up to the fact that that thing came from the lab, we could have pressured the Chinese to give us the genome sequence, which would have allowed us to design an effective vaccine rather than the crap we wound up getting. And again, Trump got lied to about that, not just by Fauci, but by Pfizer, the drug company.
In what way?
They didn't disclose the side effects of that. And they weren't clear with him.
And they blocked hydroxychloroquine, ivermectin, and monoclonal antibodies for a kill shot.
They made him think that it was a true vaccine when it's not.
Luke Radowski talking about Tom Hanks saying they probably threatened him to do this with all the extortion they have on him. Yes, that is a link. Lauren saying Tom Hanks just came on SNL in a MAGA hat for a bit where he acted like he didn't want to shake a black man's hand. This shows wonders This show wonders why the ratings are in the gutter. Trump won the popular vote. This tired trope that MAGA's racist is disgusting. SNL is an unfunny show for snobbish liberal elites. The current Republican Party is a big tent coalition comprised of many former Democrats. Good riddance, SNL. Here's the age. Look at the age of all these people. 4 million, 3 million, 3, 3, 3, 1, 120,000, 6,000, 6, 9. These are 200-year-old people. 200-year-old people collecting Social Security. Alex reporting a DC housing price collapse is imminent as record numbers of luxury homes are put up for market after Trump puts his foot on the neck of corruption as Doge makes the jump into hyperspace. This is President Trump.
A sitting United States president pacing the field for the great
First U.S. president pacing the field for the Daytona 500.
American race. He said he wanted to do a lap. He's going to do it. And are the drivers excited about this? Well, here's Clint Boyer's radio.
He's going to pace the field? Yeah. Love it. Gosh, it's awesome.
He's going to pace the field? Gosh, this is awesome.
You know, Mike, people ask me, do you miss it? Are you jealous of those competitors out there today?
God, this music, I wonder if it's going to get flagged for having the damn music. Oh, these copyright laws.
Right now, I am. I would love to
Right now, I'm missing it. I'd love to do that.
Field out there competing today. This is just so special.
I'll just mute it. Doggone it. Big roar from the crowd as the president paces the field. Green flags and American flags. Oh, God, I don't know what this music is. Anyway, I'll stop showing it. Doggone it. How'd I get back here? All right. This went on in New Zealand. Did you see this? The story is that
trying to harm the public space that belongs.
You can check out the story, but the Post says they tried they wanted trans people reading to toddlers to indoctrinate them in New Zealand. And so these people came out and performed the haka to drown out the nonsense. It's an interesting story worth following. General Michael Flynn is stating that every member of Congress should reveal whether or not they have an AIPAC handler. This is called foreign interference in the United States political system. Do you have a handler? Yes or no? It's a fair question for any group. Are there handlers for where? For who? Why do you get a handler? John Lefevre saying, after the light bulb, the candle makers learned a new trade. After the automobile, the saddle makers learned a new craft. But after the death of DEI and the NGO complex, there are no jobs for these people. Given the disparity between their skill, intelligence, and expertise, zero, and what they think they're worth. He's saying, I don't wish ill on anyone, but these are the same people who've been stealing from us for years, all the while thinking they're geniuses and pretending to be virtuous. I don't feel them. Unemployment has spiked in Washington, D.C. as Trump and Musk begin efforts to shrink the government. Mark Levin and Mike Johnson talking revolutionary acts of Doge.
I want to ask you another question related to Elon Musk. They turn him into this boogeyman. Why do you think they love multi-billionaire George Soros, who has used the various instrumentalities of the government to acquire radio stations, who spends tens of billions of dollars throughout the years, he and his son, to influence our government, to insinuate themselves in governmental decisions, to elect prosecutors who refuse to prosecute and so forth? That's their sugar daddy. That's their guy. But when it comes to Elon Musk, they want him criminally investigated. They believe he doesn't have any role in anything and so forth and so on. Do you see this as complete hypocrisy?
Complete hypocrisy. And what Elon is doing is heroic. He used the word in the opening monologue. Exactly right. This is an heroic effort. He is bringing common sense and transparency and sunlight to the federal government, to the bureaucracy, to what many of us refer to as the deep state. And this is what he and I were talking about just on Monday night at his office. I said, Elon, I am so excited about what you are doing, what you are uncovering. I said, you think of this as a scientist and a data analyst. I think of it as a constitutional law attorney and historian. Elon, what we are going to be able to do through this effort is restore the original intent of the framers of the Constitution. What they had in mind is a small federal government that was closely monitored and had heavy oversight by the duly elected representatives of the people. The challenge we've had here in recent decades is that members of Congress, these representatives, have not been able to do that job well. The oversight job has been hindered because the deep state and the bureaucracy has not turned over the data. They wouldn't give us the information we were seeking. We didn't know all this because it was hidden. Now Elon has cracked the code. He is on the inside of the belly of the beast, Mark, and he is unveiling and revealing all these things that we knew intuitively were happening, but we didn't have the evidence. This is a game changer. It is truly revolutionary. And we're going to restore, ultimately, through this process, the federal government to the original intent of the founders. And that's what has the big government, socialist, liberals, and Democrat Party apoplectic, because they're afraid of what the final result of this is going to be. And it's very exciting for the people.
You're so right. If you love the country,
yeah, it's super overdue.
You love the Constitution, you love small R republicanism, you're cheering these guys on. Mr. Speaker, thank you for all you're doing, and God bless you, my friend.
Thanks, Mark. Great to be with you.
They talked about being inside the belly of the beast. Take a look at this one. Did you see this video from a couple days ago? This guy's out kayaking. And all of a sudden, here comes a whale. And it swallows him up. That's a whale. That's Jonah in the belly of the beast. That's literally what they were just talking about. And this is like one of the biggest videos right now.
Hey, ya, vente, vente. Tranquilo, agarra el bote, agárralo.
Oh my gosh.
Agárralo, agárralo, agárralo. No te subas, agárralo.
Jeez.
Agárralo, agárralo. Vete para la orilla.
Swallowed and spit out by a whale.
Tranquilo, tranquilo. Ya voy.
Tranquilo, is that they call him?
Tranquilo, ya voy.
Tranquilo.
Tranquilo, tranquilo. Tranquilo, tranquilo. Tranquilo, 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 ya está. Vamos a la orilla, tranquilo. Agárrate,
Quiet,
agárrate
peaceful.
de la cuerdita.
Don't worry, don't worry.
Tranquilo, agárrate de mi cuerdita.
Don't worry, don't worry.
Atrás, atrás, no me tumbes, no me tumbes. Eso, tranquilo, tranquilo. Tranquilo, tranquilo. Vamos, vamos. Tranquilo, te estoy remolcando, tranquilo. Tranquilo, que si vamos a la orilla no pasa nada. Tranquilo, tranquilo.
Wow. Yeah, talk about being in the belly of the beast.
We'll be right back.
Anyway, that was a good piece there. Nick Sortor reporting. President Trump just fired almost 24 immigration judges per Politico. Many of these immigration judges are merely leftist activists helping to facilitate an invasion of our country. There you go. You know, I did share footage of this Israeli airstrike killing the Hamas leader. I don't know where that footage went. Lindsey Graham hanging out with Zelensky. This is all on. Instead of getting Kash Patel confirmed, they're over here messing with Zelensky. More flooding in western North Carolina. Please stay safe.
Great American race. I think it's fantastic. It's great for the country. Our country.
President Trump
What brings
at the Daytona 500.
Back to the Great American race. I think it's fantastic. It's great for the country. Our country is doing well again, and we have spirit all over the world. There's spirit again. We brought it back, and it's been less than 4 weeks. So you'll see what we do in a little period of time. It's going to only get better, but this is very exciting. You brought your granddaughter. I know some of your other family members are here. You get to take a ride around in the Beast. What is that like? I'll let you know in about 2 minutes because they're going to be going quite quickly, I understand. And you just got to meet some of the drivers. Are you going to get on the radio again and talk to them before the start of this? And I say they have a lot of courage doing this. I see it, and I've been.
President Trump. I mean, he's at the Super Bowl. He's at Daytona. He's at the Western North Carolina flood sites. He's in the Palisades where the burn sites. This is a president that's on the job that cares. Compare this to what Biden did to sell this country out for his personal gain.
Here, and they have a lot of guts, as they would say.
Mr. President, enjoy your time.
Thank you very much.
Mike.
There's his granddaughter, I believe.
What a day in day.
Pretty cool. Pretty cool. What else did I want to share? Maybe that's where I'll leave it for now. I would encourage you to check out the rest of our X feed. Oh, I guess here, let's hear this one. There's Trump hitting Justin Trudeau in that hockey match. That's a funny clip. Here's the real one. Okay, so, oh, hold on. I can't play the music. It's so stupid. So this happened. Kachuk. They just started fighting as soon as the game started. After they booed the national anthem of the United States, America's like, oh, we're not taking that. Slamming these guys down, body checking the hell out of them, beating them 3-1. Don't you ever boo our national anthem. Don't you ever. USA, USA. That happened over the weekend, and it's pretty wild. Kind of has me interested in watching now. All right. Here's one. Caitlin Collins over the weekend tweeted, or a couple days ago, tweeted Luigi Mangioni's legal defense team because they launched a new website. So they're doing crowdfunding. She goes, Caitlin Collins, in no way did I share a fundraising link for him. I don't think so, Margaret.
F. Kennedy Jr. get confirmed he's going to come in here and be sworn in. Mitch McConnell has now voted against several of your nominees. We saw Robert F. Kennedy Jr. theories. What's your reaction to that?
Well, I feel sorry for Mitch. And I was one of the people that he wanted to go to the end and he wanted to stay leader. He wasn't.
Yeah, Mitch needs to leave, by the way. But that's who they are. That's what they're promoting. Luigi Mangioni's fund. And then pretending that they're not pushing that type of stuff. Kennedy nominee for HHS pledges to investigate Fauci and Gates for mass murder. Plus, top Eco Health Alliance whistleblower Andrew Huff issues a warning to Trump that the man tapped to be his new pandemic czar. Dr. Gerald Parker is a Bill Gates Fauci operative. Keep your eyes peeled there. All right, let's pause it for there. That was a lot to get caught up on over the weekend. I really do appreciate speaking to you almost every day. Did take Sunday off. But yeah, the old format of going on Tuesday and Thursday, we were missing out on way too much news. Way too much news. Only doing 2 shows a week. And I'm excited to have full use of the studio these days. Did come at a premium, $1,000 I had to spend on the Restream 12-month subscription. But that is the cost of doing business in the new American media. There is overhead. And that's why I would like to share with you. Let me share this page with you. If you haven't seen it, here's Nimbus. I'll share Nimbus with you. Hi, buddy. This is the new American Media Patreon page. You could sign up on different tier levels if you wanted to support us each month. $5, $15, $100, $1,000 a month. It's all good. It's all helpful. We are also on PayPal at Fuzz Installment, Venmo at Brian Engelman, Cash App $Brian Engelman. If you wanted to make any donations. One of the best things you can do is like the show, share the show, copy the link and send it to a couple of your friends and go, hey, I watched this show and they cover a lot of news and it's interesting and fun. You guys should sign up for it. You guys should subscribe. That's a great way to support the show. Leaving comments encourages the algorithm to participate and go, oh, well, if other people are engaged in the show, maybe other audience members would like it. Let's share this to more people. We've actually started showing up in share results again. God, it's been years since we did that. Years since we did that. But yeah, you can share the show or support the show in any of those ways. We're the New American Media on Rumble. Subscribe to that. Hit the notification bell, just like YouTube. Truth Social, Instagram, Facebook. Nice, the kitty. Yes, it's Mr. Nimbus, my Los Angeles rescue. Put him into a meditative state. But yeah, the New American Media, our Facebook page, our Instagram page, Truth Social, Rumble, and YouTube. We're on X at American_media_. Share it with Share, please. And the Shah. Didn't we have a joke about the Shah? I'm shocked. Was it? I'm so shocked or something on the Saturday show. We did a story about the Shah. Subscribe to the Agree to Disagree show podcast on Spotify and Apple, whatever. We'll put the TNAM AM shows underneath the heading of the Agree to Disagree show. I think moving forward, I'd like to maybe make Agree to Disagree more interview centric, whereas the daily show, currently it's a morning show. Shocking. Yes, it was a king. That's what it was. It was about the Shah King. Ooh, that's so shocking. We're such dorks. I love it. Same humor style though. But yeah, anyway, we're currently doing the TNAM AM show. It might eventually turn into a TNAM PM show. But for now, it's in the morning. And either way, we'll put that. What, bud? You reaching out to me? Hi, buddy. Look at this guy. He likes getting up here and hamming it up in front of the camera. He's a very sweet guy. He's purring right now. If you guys don't have a kitty, maybe consider go get yourself a kitty. Look at this. Look at this embrace. I'm going to try to get him to fall asleep. He's going down. Doing the neck squeeze. He's falling. He's going down for the count. Anyway. Love the kitty. Anyway, subscribe and like us in all the places. And we'll be back. We are on Telegram and Signal at TNAM and TNAM Chat. TNAM and TNAM Chat. Plus, TNAM's the Agree to Disagree show. Private group on Facebook. Hit like, hit subscribe, share our stuff, leave your comments. Thank you so much. I'm going to sign out for now. I'll be back later. Unpacking the news. But yeah, I really do love talking about the news every day. There's way too much happening to wait. Sometimes 4 days in between shows. That's unacceptable. Just cannot do that. So it's great to be here. Thank you, everybody. Signing out for now. We'll be back tomorrow. But yeah, stay in tune with the TNAM's The Agree to Disagree show group on Facebook at American_media_ on X, because we share things all day long as news breaks. Like the conversation never stops. So make sure you're linked up. All right. I'll be back tomorrow. Talk to you in a few. I appreciate you. I love you.